I snapped my eyes open. A familiar face came into view, dressed in a security uniform, with a slender build, light-colored hair, and a name tag reading J3. The very same security officer who had been involved with me in the Changui darkness. The red yarn tied tightly around my hands, dangling little silver bells, caught my eye. The look and purpose felt oddly familiar. Oh, this is one of the security team's equipment.
Dark Exploration Records Supernatural Disaster Management Bureau. A red yarn with silver bells attached, classified as an equipment type item. Temporarily reverts the subject to their physically and mentally healthiest state within the past 10 years. The more severe the subject's mutation, the faster the yarn breaks. Health criteria determined based on usage records.
A device that allowed anyone to temporarily return to a better state from their past. Knowing this calmed me down a little. Why am I restrained? I quickly raised my head. The sergeant, looking mildly annoyed but also slightly amused, met my gaze. He gave a small wave. I raised my bound arms as high as I could.
And what is this about?
You said you rescued a contaminated employee?
The sergeant pointed at me.
Are you saying the security team thinks I'm the one contaminated?
Looks like it. Yeah, there's no one else. Welcome to the security team?
Is this some kind of initiation for me as a new recruit? I emphasized this twice, then finally managed to steady myself and take in my surroundings. Is this an isolation room? The interior was an empty space surrounded by gray walls, with even the lighting recessed seamlessly into the ceiling. It seems like the security team responded properly. I must have made the call correctly.
Security Team Equipment Rental Facility.
This was a facility I'd been authorized to use after my promotion to supervisor. A storage space where equipment from the security team could be borrowed via phone or in person. However, if the security team deemed a situation required containment, they could intervene directly, as they had here. Seeing as I was now detained in a security team facility, that must have been the case.
This must be the company building. Given that you're here, Sergeant.
Yes, sharp observation.
I swallowed nervously. If I wasn't mistaken, my tattoo still held the contaminated Supervisor Park Min-seong. I need to hand him over so the contamination can be contained. But wouldn't officially registering the existence of my tattoo with the security team be an incredibly stupid move long-term? Testing the waters, I cautiously asked.
Is there a CCTV system installed here by any chance?
It was likely that no recording devices had been set up, considering this was the first time someone contaminated by the ghost story had escaped into reality. Even CCTV footage could become contaminated, especially since Hungry Hangman was in Ghost story with exceptionally strong psychological contamination. In any case, it seemed no one knew that the fully contaminated Supervisor Park Min-seong was currently inside my tattooed wrist. I swallowed nervously.
Just call me Jay. I'm the only left in the security team.
All right, JC. Can you promise to keep what happens next a secret?
Naturally, I expected him to refuse. Or perhaps he'd act conflicted, agree to keep it a secret, and then promptly report everything. Either way, I was prepared to offer some form of persuasion.
As long as it's not about blowing up the company. No, even that might be okay. Just keep it a secret that I even heard anything.
Was this the confidence of someone in a lifelong position? What kind of company is this? I shook off the dizziness creeping into my head and firmly stated,
It's not about blowing up the company. Actually, I've rescued a contaminated employee, and I'm currently containing them on my own.
Are you delusional?
I'm perfectly sane. I'm even wearing contamination suppression equipment, am I not? These yarns with bells. This is contamination suppression equipment, isn't it? Then you can see that I'm speaking with a clear mind.
When you're ready, I'll bring out the contaminated employee. Do you need any special preparations? I only have one chance as I'm using a disposable item.
He tapped his chest lightly. Though his words might have sounded arrogant, his tone was straightforward and wearied, giving no impression of boasting. And he's a sergeant. I'd seen his capabilities in the Changui ghost story. He was a professional in darkness suppression. I took a deep breath. Then I reached directly into my tattoo. I didn't have to search. My hand immediately grasped the target. Keeping fellow teachers locked away is against the rules. As my hand emerged from the tattoo, it dragged something along with it. With grotesque sounds, the teacher began to emerge from the tattoo. The yarn snapped from the strain. Blood spurted from my forearm like a fountain. The wound inflicted by the blood-sucking knife earlier had reopened. I wanted to scream from the pain, but I held back. The contamination was creeping back as well. But more pressing than that was,
Teacher Soleum, such mischievous behavior is a punishable offense at unknown kindergarten.
Supervisors Park Min-seong, or rather the teacher, paused mid-sentence, smiling softly. Then he stopped entirely, glancing around blankly at his surroundings.
This is not the kindergarten. This is not the kindergarten. This is not the kindergarten. I left without permission, unauthorized. I am not a perfect teacher. I broke the rules.
There was no way to respond. I could only feel the guilt crashing over me. I'm so sorry, teacher. I made the wrong decision. I shouldn't have done this. I'll take your punishment and read the handbook aloud instead. I'll grab the handbook of unknown kindergarten and... Someone seized my face. Then something was inserted into my ear. Some kind of sleep sedative. I opened my eyes again. Everything was still, I instinctively knew.
And you knocked me out, didn't you?
I looked at the empty capsule shell that had fallen to the floor from my ear. It seemed I'd been given something that briefly knocked me out. Something similar to the snow-white mountain apple I carried, but perhaps a less potent version. It appeared I'd been freed from the contamination's effects. I steadied my breathing and looked down at my arm. The area where I'd been injured was now wrapped in bandages. As for the yarn that had been wrapped around me earlier, I lifted my head and saw it tightly wound around Supervisor Park Min-seong's limbs in the corner. Right. He no longer looked like a teacher. It was Supervisor Park Min-seong again. Dressed in a black suit and mask, Park Min-seong looked just as he had before entering the ghost story. Even if this was only a temporary effect of the suppression equipment. Feeling utterly drained, I leaned against the wall. Successful handover. I heard the sergeant mutter beside me.
That guy's lucky getting out that quickly. Envy him.
Since he came out quickly, does that mean he can fully recover from the contamination?
The sergeant, looking too tired to think, hesitated before finally speaking under the weight of my persistent gaze.
That's a gloom-level contamination.
Huh? Yes, it's B-class.
The company's got protocols, and well, if things go decently, maybe a department transfer?
Sure. Working in the security team would be better than dying. I hope he recovers well enough to either return or leave on his own terms. I turned back to look at Supervisor Park Min-seong. Now that the tension was easing, I felt strange. Until just yesterday, we'd been coworkers, chatting and joking in the office. Now, starting tomorrow, he'd suddenly disappear from my daily life.
Please take good care of him.
The sergeant nodded slightly, his expression unreadable. As my thoughts wandered, my mind finally returned to the last scene I had witnessed. Assistant Manager Yoon Ha-jae.
What happened to the body lying next to me? The one missing a left hand?
Please, tell me she wasn't incinerated or something. No, that couldn't have happened. Since she was a missing hand and not a head, they would have thought it strange. Still, my growing anxiety prompted me to hasten the process and leave the isolation room.
Let's head out together.
With a few members of the security team accompanying me, I found myself walking out of the isolation room, escorted somewhere between surveillance and protection. And as soon as I stepped outside, I realized something. This was the isolation area adjacent to the security team's equipment storage facility. There were separate pages about this place in the Darkness Exploration records. Every single one of them was chilling. 2 summoned employees walked just half a step behind me, moving at a calm pace through the corridor. Meanwhile, I followed, trying to suppress the unease creeping over me.
Almighty Luminous, honest shine your light upon me. Save me, please, save me.
From the isolation rooms lined along both sides came bone-chilling sounds. I resolutely avoided glancing anywhere but the light spilling from the door ahead.
Who's in the hallway? Who's in the hallway?
Who's... Please, just walk faster. Hurry up!
Yet the blasted security team staff maintained their steady pace until we finally emerged through the door. By that point, I was utterly drained, left to complete the exit procedure for the equipment storage facility as a ragged husk of myself. The front of the storage facility looked like a bleak corridor in the maintenance department. At the counter, a silent security team employee retrieved my belongings, which had been stored for isolation. I accepted the briefcase. A sticker labeled approved. Risk level D was affixed to its surface. Looks like they didn't inspect the items individually, nor had they conducted any additional checks on what I'd retrieved from my tattoo. Surprisingly, Sergeant J seemed to have kept his promise entirely, though he might report it someday. That much was manageable. I'd even mentioned the one-time use nature of the items on purpose. What mattered now was handling the situation properly. Let's do this right. I took a deep breath. Time to quickly check on Assistant Manager Yoon Haje's situation.
Excuse me, is this all of my belongings?
The staff member silently pointed toward a container in the corner of the front desk. There lay my soaked and mangled suit jacket, crumpled into a mess, and stuffed inside it, a small, disheveled stuffed doll.
How dare they throw me into such a place as if I were trash! This is outrageous! Even when I was a rookie, I never experienced such disrespect!
These people are insane. I felt like I could bathe in my own cold sweat. Hastily, I retrieved the jacket, cleaned up the doll, and tucked it into my shirt pocket. You've been through so much, I'm sorry.
Pooh! It's not your fault, Mr. Rodeer. It's those ruffians who acted so recklessly!
Braun seemed somewhat mollified. Without wasting time, I turned and began walking away. But from behind, an ominous voice trailed after me.
But a good friend never forgets!
Let's make sure to never let Braun near the security team again. As I stepped out the door, a voice called out to me. Waiting at the front of the security team facility was someone familiar. Chief Lizard gazed at me with his slit pupils.
Did you come to fetch me, sir? Where are you taking me? And while you're at it, could you explain why I'm being taken there?
To the infirmary. Assistant Manager Yoon Haje is lying there.
I paused several times before I managed to speak. Squad Leader Lee turned to look at me, and his response was firm and clear. A surge of emotion suddenly rose to my throat.
Squad Leader. Supervisor Park Min-seong has also been retrieved.
Lee Jae-hyun seemed to ponder for a moment, but he soon asked.
Then everyone has survived.
That alone made it all worth it. After that, everything was processed fairly quickly. It seemed I had gained some remarkable recognition at the company again. Apparently, rescuing a contaminated colleague by yourself wasn't entirely unheard of, but most cases involved months or even years of preparation and a desperate determination to pull it off. There were countless cases where the people supposedly on a rescue mission would disappear together with those contaminated people while attempting it. But to pull someone out immediately after contamination? It was apparently unprecedented for a new hire.
Look, that guy with the deer antler mask.
Wow, how many times is this now?
Sometimes, as I walked through the company corridors, I overheard whispers behind me. But maybe because I was walking alone now, the comments felt especially clear, though it didn't last long.
Don't come to work for the next 10 days.
With half the team gone, D-Squad operations had already been temporarily suspended, and now I was being granted leave. I was still coming in regularly to write the situation report, though. I'd been curious about how we'd managed to twist the rules of a B-class darkness, where the hangman had to die to clear it, and bring Assistant Manager Yoon Haje out alive. Someone must have reported that Supervisor Park Min-seong and I tried to do something. It even seemed there had been discussions about scheduling interviews with the research team to strengthen the reliability of the exploration records.
So Supervisor Kim, why bother with that? Take a break. You've done something huge.
It appeared Section Chief Lee Byong-jin, who's in charge of manual revisions, and Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun from our squad had cut off the talks at their level. It was a bit funny, but during the reports from the employees who had been with us, they had apparently testified. Kim Soleum must have acted to save his squadmates without any ulterior motive. They essentially made excuses on my behalf, claiming it was all a fortunate combination of quick thinking and good luck. They all bolted the moment the clear door opened, yet they still spoke up for me. The former was only natural, but the latter was something I was grateful for, so I decided to accept it. Thanks to all this, my name kept circulating on internal calls, and the manual now had a possibly subject to revision label attached to it. In the group chat with my fellow new hires, people kept trying to dig for information from me.
You've been through a lot. Great job.
Some even sent texts to comfort me. For the record, Baek Deok-soo hadn't even asked how I was doing, even when I live with the guy. That punk's personality has always been like that, anyway. I didn't expect anything different. Overall, the situation so far hadn't been bad for my survival. Actually, isn't this good? I was steadily building an impressive career. Specifically, I was establishing a reputation as a standout employee known for quick clears using unconventional methods outside the existing manual, and for benevolence. And now, a 10-day paid leave. I thought I'd either be pleased about distancing myself from ghost stories for 10 days, or feel disappointed about slowing down the pace of accumulating points. I expected it to be one or the other, but I felt neither particularly, so I ended up doing nothing at all.
Mr. Road Deer, would you like to hear my thoughts on why that abysmal comedy show failed to captivate the public?
It'll be fascinating!
I spent a few days just sitting in the living room watching TV. Then, about 3 days in,
Come to the hospital.
Assistant manager.
I placed the get-well gift I'd brought on the side table and stood next to the bed. Assistant manager Yoon-haj let out a faint chuckle.
Soy milk? Nice choice.
It was the first time we were meeting since the brief communication we had in the infirmary, right after she regained consciousness. The assistant manager's complexion was slightly pale, but her face otherwise looked fine. The snow-white mountain apple had apparently done its job to some extent.
Not bad for someone who came back from the brink of death, right? That item was great. Thanks.
Thanks to that item, assistant manager Yoon-haj had appeared to be a corpse. Luckily, the unique condition of her missing hand rather than her neck led to her being preserved in isolation. Section Chief Lee Jae-hyun reported her survival and had her moved to the infirmary at sunrise the next day. Now, she had been transferred to a hospital with some sort of partnership with the company, and the urgent treatments had just been completed.
Oh, by the way, I just said the apple was something I had on me. People usually prefer to keep their sources a secret.
Gratitude? If anything, I should be the one thanking you and Min Seong.
Assistant manager Yoon-haj started to raise her left hand as if to wave it and dismiss the notion, but then froze. Because it wasn't there. Her bandaged left arm ended abruptly at the wrist. With such a loss, company-issued supply potions wouldn't be able to regenerate it.
Assistant manager.
I voiced what I'd been considering.
I have that C-grade regeneration potion with me.
You're not about to offer it to me, are you?
I was planning to sell it, for money.
Yoon-haj clicked her tongue.
Listen up, Ro. Items that are only tradable for points. You can't just buy those outside, no matter how much money you have.
And using that potion just because I lost a hand? That's wasteful. It's the kind of thing you save for when half your body's gone.
It's fine. I'll handle my hand. You keep it for emergencies.
Her gaze grew faintly shadowed.
If you keep going into the darkness, you'll face situations far worse than losing a hand. Trust me.
A chill ran down my spine.
Actually, I've got something for you.
With the grace of someone who'd been using just one hand for years, Yoon-haj reached into the bedside drawer and pulled out a luxurious gold-embossed box painted with an oil painting design. That's the kind of box Daydream Inc. uses for their premium potions. And it looked even fancier than the box my C-grade regeneration potion came in.
Assistant manager, what exactly are you?
She opened the box with an exuberant gesture. Inside, the molded silk lining held spaces for 2 round glass vials. But one was already empty. Yoon-haj took the remaining vial and casually tossed it to me. I lunged forward, catching the vial before it could fall. Inside, a liquid shimmered like flowing silk, blending hues of deep purple and silver.
Western Diamondback Rattlesnake. Outstanding.
Assistant manager, you bought this with points.
Handle it carefully. That's a 170,000-point death note. You can kill someone remotely without leaving a trace.
With trembling hands, I read the description on the vial.
Western Diamondback Rattlesnake venom assists with silent and ruthless revenge. Through a simple ritual, breathe the target's name into the vial. That very night, a horrific death shall find them.
In short, it's perfect for getting rid of someone you want dead without any fuss. Before they die, they'll experience excruciating, searing pain and horrific mental torment, enough to curse the world itself, before falling into a coma. Over the next 4 hours, They'll endure what feels like 4 years of agony.
You're giving me a murder weapon. Assistant Manager Yoon Ha-jae further grumbled about how the venom always came in sets of 2 vials because of the damn concept. So she had to work twice as hard and twice as long just to get it. But eventually, she smirked mischievously at me.
Use it if someone you want to kill shows up. Because I had someone like that.
I glanced at the empty slot in the box, feeling a lump in my throat. Did she already use the first one?
Curious about who I used it on.
My mind instantly flashed to the revelation from the something unknown.
The word that best represents teacher Yoon Ha-jae is betrayer.
If it's a personal matter and you're uncomfortable, you don't have to tell me.
Uncomfortable? Please. I've been dying to talk about it.
If that's the case, by all means. Assistant Manager Yoon Ha-jae leaned back against the bed with her arms crossed.
To cut to the chase. Yes, I got into trouble as a journalist and ended up switching careers. There was this second-generation politician who dabbled in everything from drugs to human trafficking. I was chasing an exclusive scoop on him, but I ruined myself in the process.
Her tone was casual as usual, but the content was anything but. It was the kind of story that felt polished through years of introspection and regret. Her article was killed at the desk, and the very next day, immense pressure came down on her entire team. She was stalked. Her family received threatening calls.
The team decided to drop the whole thing and pretend it never happened. But I couldn't let it go and tried to blow the whistle through a foreign media outlet. Sure, that could be considered betrayal. But
A small sigh escaped her lips.
on the day I was supposed to leave the country, I got a call. 4 of the informants had died as if it were some sort of cruel joke. Officially, it was ruled as suicides due to despair. But they obviously weren't. Either they were killed outright or driven to the point of death. I was stupid to think that just publishing the story would fix everything.
It wasn't stupidity.
It was stupid, no matter how you look at it. Anyway,
Yoon Ha-jae quit being a journalist. She said she simply couldn't do it anymore.
but I still needed a job. I had a family to something unknown.
Fortunately, she found a company that fit. A place where the age range for new hires was relatively broad, where experience in diverse fields was valued for sales positions, and since it was in a different industry, she wasn't on any blacklists.
A pharmaceutical company called Daydream Inc.
And at this company, she encountered something extraordinary. Yoon Ha-jae adjusted her arms, crossing them more comfortably.
At first, I thought about bringing the dead back to life, but that felt like an insult to them. Trying to bring them back just because I felt guilty would have been self-serving. Respecting the dead as they are, that's the right thing to do. Plenty of people in this company wouldn't agree, but that's my stance. Anyway,
Her story ended with a faint smile.
so last night I got my revenge, and that's the end of it. If you hear about a second-generation politician dying a horrible death in the news, just know that I was the one responsible.
Yoon Ha-jae stretched her arms high with a relieved sigh.
Ah, fuck. I'm finally done with this cursed darkness exploration. You never know in life.
Despite her bold declaration, her face was slightly stiff. Even though she mentioned it casually to avoid burdening me, it was clear that she felt conflicted about leaving Supervisor Park Min-seong behind.
Either way, I'll be taking a break for a while. But I guess that means I won't be working in the D Squad anymore.
She gave a slightly bitter smile.
I made such a fuss about you staying in our squad, and it ended up happening after all.
I realized it reflexively. From now on, I wouldn't see Assistant Manager Yoon Ha-jae sitting at the desk next to mine anymore.
Yeah. If it weren't, you'd have to be some kind of psychopath. You've been so capable that it's just hitting you a bit later than usual. But everyone goes through this at some point. Not being able to see the squad mate who used to sit next to you the very next day. But you should give yourself some credit for this. It's the best case scenario. You're not seeing us anymore for a good reason, thanks to your own abilities.
Supervisor Park Min-seong, he.
That's a debt I'll keep on my own tab. You rescued him too. Be proud of that. He's strong in his own way. He'll recover. Focus on yourself for now.
She glanced at me and smiled.
Even the squad leader seems worried about you. Ro, hasn't the squad leader been barely showing up at the office lately? Usually, when half a squad gets wiped out, the norm isn't taking a break. It's stepping into something unknown. But he made sure to keep you out of that, whether it's by pulling strings or stepping in himself. Trustworthy, huh? He's been like that since I joined. Not exactly flexible, but dependable.
Yoon Haje placed her intact hand on my shoulder.
It's not easy finding people you can rely on in this company. That's part of your good fortune. Work well with the squad leader moving forward.
Then she grinned and extended her hand.
Whoever ends up taking my spot with squad leader Lee Jae-hyun and Kim Soleum, I'm sure the D squad will be fine. Earn plenty of points safely, Ro. I hope your wish comes true.
That was my last handshake with Assistant Manager Yoon Haje from the D Squad. When I returned to work after my short leave, I saw that all of Assistant Manager Yoon Haje's belongings had been cleared from her desk in the D Squad's office. Supervisor Park Min-song's desk had been left alone, but who knew how long that would last? I quietly went to my desk and sat down. I was the last remaining member of the D Squad here. I sat quietly in the office.
Ah, what a refreshing winter morning! How about a cup of coffee, friend?
Sure, let's have some at lunchtime.
While tidying up my desk and chatting with Braun to chase away the silence, around 8:50 a.m., my lizard-headed superior entered through the door. I approached and greeted him politely.
Good morning, squad leader. It's a pleasure to see you.
I lifted my head and continued. The lizard moved only his eyes to look at me.
Can you perform your duties as you did 2 weeks ago?
Yes, I can work as before. Even if my initial results are lacking, I'll regain my rhythm as quickly as possible.
His vertical pupils scrutinized me intently.
I'll be the judge of that, and provide any necessary something.
By now, I've become fluent in interpreting his words. Whether you excel or stumble, I'll back you up. Just keep working hard like you always do. Honestly, even if he looked and talked like a lizard, he's a good boss. So who cares still? That didn't mean I can let my guard down. I have to clear the darknesses perfectly for a while. I'd already been granted paid leave. If someone known for their swift, efficient work like me, the kind of employee who hit supervisor rank in just 60 days, came back from a break and couldn't deliver results, that would become a hot topic around the company. It wouldn't look good.
Wait, nobody even died. Everyone survived, didn't they? Employee Kim Soleum seems oddly fragile emotionally. But how could someone with such a weak mentality have achieved so much before?
It's no good if suspicion starts swirling. I couldn't give them any reason to doubt me. I need to clear everything cleanly. Though, I hadn't been able to purchase any reliable new items. I recalled the message on the Alien Shop's website that had been up during my entire vacation.
Redecorating, temporary closed.
The website was under maintenance. I wonder when it'll reopen. I haven't seen any documents related to the site's redecorating, so it should reopen soon. Once the Alien Shop is back, I'll check out the new stock and secure some items within my budget. For now, I'll focus on clearing darknesses properly, getting back to basics. They won't send me into high-grade darkness again for a while, I think. The strange emptiness left by reduced squad members was unavoidable, but quitting isn't an option, so I'll manage somehow. I asked a bit more cheerfully on purpose.
Do you think I'll be deployed to a darkness today? I heard there's a high chance we'll be sent to something.
Which squad will we be something?
Do you mean the A squad?
I knew no one at all from that squad. The fact that it was an elite unit made me wary, but at least I wouldn't have to see both the A squad's leader and squad leader Lee Jae-hyun in one place. Now that I think about it, I wasn't entirely unfamiliar with the C squad.
This is Assistant Manager Lee Kang-yeon from the C Squad, haha.
The suspicious assistant manager who introduced me to Salmon Market. He did say he was from the C squad. Maybe this time I'll finally see him in person. But a more pressing question came first. If it's an elite unit's mission,
could it be a high difficulty darkness that's hard to clear?
What criteria are you using to make that judgment?
I apologize. That was thoughtless. Could you tell me its letter class and whether a manual exists for it?
It's D class. The manual is fully prepared.
Oh, then there's little chance of seeing some crazy stunt where they use the round-off team as human meat shields. Feeling relieved, I asked calmly.
Understood. When should we depart?
We'll move out in 5 minutes.
We grabbed our gear and left the office, walking toward our destination.
Why are we heading toward the annex instead of the C Squad's office?
Because the C Squad has already entered the darkness.
After a few more exchanges with Chief Lizard, here's what I gathered.
C Squad's leader is on leave, leaving only 2 members in the unit. Today's mission involves a D-class ghost story. Instead of adhering to the standard 3-member team, the C Squad decided to fudge the numbers and dive in on their own, prompting the admin office to hurriedly assign additional personnel.
Back when I first joined, Assistant Manager Yoon Ha-jae had blown up in rage, swearing over how they counted a newbie as part of the 3-person minimum. And here we are with people willingly entering as just 2.
A member who doesn't follow orders!
A truly skilled host knows how to handle all elements of a show, especially human resources.
Could today be your chance to learn that, Mr. Rodeer? Let's find out! Let's charge forward, shall we, friend?
I want to sink to the ground in despair. But I need points, and it's true that I need to start diving into the darkness again. None of the elite units I've encountered so far have been normal, and I have a strong feeling this will be no different. Still, as a half-year rookie supervisor, I have no choice but to follow orders. If I didn't want this, I should have joined the A Squad. Though if I had, I'd probably already be in the round-off team as a corpse. Am I already feeling nostalgic? I forced myself to avoid thinking about my 2 superiors from the D Squad as I moved forward. Squad leader Lee Jae-hyun handed me a tablet.
Spend the next 10 minutes reviewing the manual.
Is there a reason I only get 10 minutes?
Because time is tight before the entry closes, and the survival rate for the past 2 quarters has been 97%.
Thank you for the reassuring explanation. So we've reached the point where a 3% fatality rate is considered acceptable. Honestly, in a scenario something, the 3% who die even with a manual likely made terrible decisions or were extraordinarily unlucky. With a mix of unease and resignation, I looked down at the tablet.
Mr. Rodeer, it looks like your mind just went blank.
Dark Exploration Records Ghost Story. A ghost story featured in Something Daydream Inc. identification code, Cuter WD2D367, a textbook horror story where you must survive a full night among ghosts, an utterly nerve-wracking classic.
Wait just a second, squad leader. Instead of going on a mental breakdown and refusing to go in, I managed to make a rational suggestion.
Sorry. Could we possibly prepare for just 30 more minutes before entry, sir?
That is not possible.
Right. They said the entry closes. Not exactly a rational suggestion on my part. Why does it have to be this one for my return mission?